Oh, you're talking about like all the phonies out there?
Yeah.
I'm a huge skeptic, just so you know. I am such a skeptic when it comes to other psychics and mediums. That's why I try to stay away from like these expos and things where you've got all these different readers. It reminds me of like speed dating. I hate going to those because a lot of them are sitting there with tarot cards. No offense to anybody who's listening to this. Tarot cards, oracle cards, weird ruins. I was watching this one lady once throwing bones into like this pot and like putting hot sauce and spitting in it and all these crazy things. I'm a big skeptic. The reason why I'm such a skeptic is because I know what I could do and what I'm doing and how mind-blowing it is.
So how long have you had this gift?
So I grew up in Patchogue. I grew up on Oak Street, which is not what it was. It used to be like, I think, Hess gas station on the corner. And it used to be like Robinson's Market, which is now a TJ's. And behind me is Fantastic Gardens. Oh, yeah. So I grew up there. At a young age, I started to realize that I was seeing things and hearing things around the house and communicating with things that maybe other people would not. So my story is not all love and light and butterflies. It was terrifying in that house.
Oh, yeah. Well, understandably so.
The thing is, I found out later on that the house next door was like Army barracks, if I'm saying that correctly. And eventually, you know, a lot of soldiers came back from war, probably died in that house. I used to talk about a lot of the dead soldiers, my neighbor told me. And I would also talk about this woman. Whoever bought that house pushed it together and turned it into a home, and he went absolutely insane and blew off his wife's head.
Oh, great.
Okay. So there's that. So then at a very, very young age, maybe 11 years old, I started to play with Ouija boards. And I realized that why does the Ouija board always work for me? So instead I took a piece of paper and I took a quarter and I wrote out my own Ouija board. And I'm like, why does this still work out for me? So then I realized that it is me. That I'm literally the human Ouija board. So a lot of people in the paranormal.
Is it Ouija or Ouija with a Q?
Not Ouija. It is Ouija.
Cool whip.
I think. I think we're correct. But that's where it kind of begins. Okay. So I am literally the human Ouija board.
Were you doing it with other people that like it was obvious
like the neighborhood kids next door and stuff?
It was obvious it was different than...
It was just different for me, and I realized that I could do it by myself. And then I realized that I am literally the Ouija board. So a lot of people in the paranormal industry love to refer to me as a human Ouija board because when I perform, I like to lean on a book, and what they do is they take my hand and they do this. And what they are doing, instead of now we're going from letter to letter, they're taking my hand and they are making me write. So if I were to do a reading, say for you, what's happening is they're writing full sentences very fast. I kind of lean my hand on a surface and they're doing this, and I'm telling you everything that they are saying while I hear, see, and feel.
Right.
So it started in that house, which was terrifying. Because I definitely let something into that house that I shouldn't have let into that house. Right. Because at a young age, you know, you don't realize that intention is everything. You don't just start talking to anything or anything's going to come calling.
Sure.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not everybody's good intentioned. Why would that be any different in death?
Well.
Angels, demons.
Exactly. There's two sides to it. You know, it's not all love and light. A lot of psychic mediums are like, it's all love and light. It's really not. There is a spooky side to this. And I love working in that industry. It's really cool. I love it now. I didn't love it when I was a kid.
Right.
But once you realized that, how'd you keep going? You know, like how'd you take it to the next level after the...
I definitely come from a really dark place. It got really bad really quick at a young age. I definitely let something into the home. And I'm public about this. I talk about this often at various events. I let something into the house that called itself Duppy. Now that I'm older, I'm in my 30s. The neighbor, her name was Debbie, so I thought maybe it was a play on words. But what I realized within the past 2 years that in the Caribbean culture, a duppy, so take the bees and turn them around and turn them into peas. A duppy is an evil, malevolent spirit, and its intention is to possess and take over typically women and eventually kill them.
Oh, great.
So I was constantly talking to this thing that called itself
let
Duppy.
a few of those in West Babylon go. My funeral home is.
Okay.
I'm kidding.
I know. So it was really scary. It was really rough. Many years, like really, really bad. Really, really bad. So fast forward to my 30s. I had a really cool reading during the height of COVID with Medium Fleur, famous medium. Lana Del Rey calls Fleur her personal psychic medium because of how talented she is. And I got to go live with Fleur on her gallery show during COVID, which was online. Thousands of people were watching, and I just wanted one thing. So at the end of the reading, my cousin who came through was like, Bianca, you could talk to the dead. This is real, and you're about to go into this big journey. And I was like, this is it.
Wow.
Which was so validating. And then I decided to step into this fully, and I changed my entire life for this.
But you had a clue. You had something going on before that, right?
Oh, yeah. Since I was little, I was the creepy thing. Okay. But beyond that, just constantly communicating with spirits, talking to things, just knowing things. It's just always been, I was born with this. This is definitely not something I chose.
So when you had that reading with her, that was like a feeling of like,
it was such
elation.
a relief. It was a relief because growing up, you don't understand what's happening. You think something's wrong, that you are literally ill. Like, are you schizophrenic? You know, this is not real.
Right.
Something must be wrong with me.
Schizophrenia scares me.
Yeah. Well, thank God I'm not schizophrenic.
Yeah.
But then you also get various people in your life probably that like it's hard to talk about that.
Well, that's where I kind of like in junior high, I think it was, my best friend was like, Bianca, you can't talk to the dead. I think something's wrong. I think you are schizophrenic and you should probably go get help. So at that age, I was like, you know what? I probably should stop talking about how I could talk to the dead.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I just kind of kept my mouth shut for many years until that. Which
so
was
like what's your process? Like, what do you go through? Like, you just hanging out and you get a feeling, or?
So I have learned now at this age to open up properly and shut down properly. I do not just sit down in a room and just start talking and hearing things.
Yeah, because it would be very overwhelming, I would imagine.
So I do turn off, you know. It doesn't always work. You know, there's times where I say I'm sleeping and I wake up into the middle of the night and there's just something standing in the room, or I'm getting things, you know, while I'm sleeping. I'm hearing things, I'm seeing things.
I got enough problems sleeping. I don't need that shit.
You know, cannabis is really good for that. It turns you off. That's it. You're out. That's a great way of just turning off. But
yeah,
intention is everything now. So before I begin a reading or a performance, I am opening up properly with the intention of connecting to, say, you, right, your loved ones, your higher self, which is your soul. And when I'm done, I'm like, thank you. The show is over. Go back to the light.
And down comes the curtains.
Yes.
Now, what do you have to say for like, now I know there's always going to be skeptics, right? But like, there's also, I've seen like priests say that those aren't your loved ones.
Religion is, so I grew up in a very Catholic household.
Right. Just before you, I acknowledge the fact that my personal belief on religion is not necessarily it's one way or the other way. It's right, not Catholic. It's not Judaism. It's not Muslims. I think there's something. I just don't know that it's exactly how they say it is. I think that they're all a fairly good set of rules to follow. You know,
definitely, absolutely.
Don't touch my stuff. I won't touch yours.
Right.
You know, stay over there. Leave my wife where she is. Just, I won't. You know.
Yes.
Bother yours. Yeah, I think they're a good set of rules to live by for a functioning society to follow. However, I don't know that it, you know, somebody separated the Red. Is it the Red Sea? Moses, right?
Yep.
You know, like they said, I don't think that, you know, somebody moonwalked across the water and then a woman who never had sex had a baby. I could definitely be wrong. However, I just think that there's something, and I think that a lot of it relates to energy. Exactly. Good energy, bad energy. And
I agree. Yeah. I
So
don't really fall into the whole Catholic category anymore. I'm very spiritual.
Right.
So what you're saying is that priests have said to you that those...
There's a lot of priests. I can't remember the one guy. He's done like exorcisms and stuff like that. He was on Sean Ryan's show. Mm-hmm. And he was saying like, you know, psychic mediums are talking to demons.
Right.
Not your love.
And that's okay. To each their own. My goal in life is not to convince everyone, you know, and the way I see it is when I do encounter somebody of that nature, it's like, well, I didn't choose this one. Obviously, God, or whoever that may be, chose me to be this bridge between the living and the departed. I did not choose this. And I'm never trying to convince somebody, you know, that it's good or it's bad, you know. Whoever needs my help, I'm going to help. And that's it. And, you know, I do work with demonologists. I have some really good friends who are demonologists that I literally work with in this industry. And they don't have that, you know, that view.
Right. What are you feeling like when you're properly opened? Like what's happening to you?
So I'm still conscious. I don't get really weird.
You don't
and
black out.
completely step out, and I'm not talking in a different voice. But what you can notice and observe is sometimes I won't be making eye contact with you. I'll kind of like look off to the side. It's weird. It's like you're kind of stepping out of your body.
Are you physically seeing energy or something?
But it's not the way I'm seeing you. It's in your head. You're seeing these things in your head. You're feeling it in your body. So I call myself an evidential medium. I want the evidence. I want to know how your loved one died, how exactly they passed, at what age were they, are they buried, are they cremated, what exactly happened to them in the body. So what they're doing is they're talking to me. They're telling me the age they were. They're telling me, are they buried or are they cremated? Did they pass in the house? Did they pass in hospice? Did they pass in the hospital? Did they pass in a rehab? Did they pass on the street? And when it comes to knowing where it happened to them, like what happened to them, they kind of bring my awareness to that part of my body.
Right.
So if it has to do with like dementia or a brain tumor or maybe a blow to the head, they're going to bring my awareness up here. If it has to do with the chest, they're going to either focus on my lungs to the point I can't breathe, or it's going to like kind of focus in on my heart, which typically means cardiac arrest. If it has to do with something like gastrointestinal, they bring me down here. You know, they'll bring my awareness to that part of the body, but it's a mix of hearing, seeing, feeling.
And you kind of feel that trauma that they experienced?
Kind of. I'm good at like really checking out so I don't get too emotional.
Me too. I do.
You know,
on my funerals. So I just kind of shut down
check
for
out.
a minute. Yeah, because it's sad. You know, they're hysterical crying over their mother, father, potentially their son or daughter.
Right.
And it's just like, you can't, you know, you could have one shred of emotion. You hear these people screaming at the top of their lungs.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it gets emotional.
It does.
I do cry occasionally during readings, but that has to hit me hard, and which usually it'll fall with like a small child, maybe around like the age of 5 or 6, you know,
Yeah.
or with animals. I love animals so much, so occasionally that'll really get me, like with an animal. Recently I did a reading for this older gentleman. Maybe he hit his early 80s, and his wife's explaining to me how he crawled into the bed with her while she was dying and laid next to her while she took her last breath. And as I'm trying to explain this to him, I start crying hysterically with him, and now we're both crying together. She just, I don't know, she like struck a chord in me. It was really beautiful.
Yeah, I mean, you know, a lot of that is transference too. Like you put yourself in that situation and you react to it, which is completely normal.
Yeah.
You know, it's sad. You know, my dog died. I cried like a legit 16-year-old girl who got broken up with.
Of course, it's like losing a child.
I mean, like steady streams of tears rolling down my face. My kids were like, I think my kids were more upset that we were so upset than what had actually happened.
Yeah.
You know, it's a terrible experience. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, having to like put a dog down or a cat, you know, whatever your choice.
It's never easy either way, whether it's
No.
natural passing or having to help them cross over when it comes to animals.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You have any memorable readings?
So the thing is, when I do these readings, I don't remember what I'm doing by the time I'm done. So it's like I step out. So say I do a big party and I'm doing reading after reading after reading. By the end of the night, I really don't remember anything that I said.
Right.
The ones that stick are the ones that literally trigger me and make me cry. Those are the ones that tend to really kind of stick with me. It's interesting. It's like it kind of goes in and just leaves.
What's your favorite part about what you do?
I really love the fact that by doing these evidential readings, it's giving these people the knowing that, wow, there really is life after death, that we do indeed go on, that we don't just die and that's it.
Are you able to describe what it's like on the other side?
So when it comes to a lot of my readings, what I've learned is that it's not like the way, say, they depict in like the Catholic religion, just these big pearly gates and we're all just hanging out in this like courtyard. I've
There's
seen
not a guy checking IDs out there?
Exactly. I've seen so many different heavens. I remember this one couple, they both passed like literally hand in hand and they loved going on cruise ships. So the way they were kind of living out their days on the other side was like on a cruise ship. With my best friend's dad, he loved his house in the mountains of middle of nowhere, Missouri. That's kind of like where
how is that? Like with your best friends, are they constantly nagging you?
She didn't believe me when this began and she put me to the test. We were sitting like poolside and she's like, prove it to me. What do I keep doing like to connect with him? And he explained how she kept this tiny little bit of cologne and how she kept sniffing it every morning. And she was looking at me like, why would you even know that? Like,
Right.
So It depends. Family will call me. I just got a message this morning going, how long does grandma got? How long does grandpa got? Because they're going into hospice right now. And I was like, I just left Florida and I told them June.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah. So.
Is there like a pattern of like when you see people come to you, like to ask for help? Like, is there like.
With clients?
Yeah.
I tell clients to wait at least 3 months. Preferably 6 months. That means you're coming to me once a year because I want your life to change. I don't want to just take your money. I want you to have something, I want life to change for you so I could offer you more, so I could tell you what has happened over the course of the past year, whether your career has changed, whether, things in your home life, your relationship life. Like, I want something to provide. So I typically say 6 months, 3 if you have to. But then I have clients who want to come to me on a monthly basis. And honestly, for me personally, it starts to feel more like a therapy session.
I was gonna say,
like, I know your whole life at this point. Like, I'm literally talking to the same people over and over and over. Like, what has really changed that much from
any
one
weird,
month
like
to
really
the next?
weird ones? Like
clients?
Yeah.
Like situations?
Tell Steve to stop masturbating every day.
I've had some really weird situations. I try to like put that out to the universe to keep the crazies away from me. Like, I've had someone completely obliterated come and get a reading from me once during an expo. And that was just a half hour of him just hitting on me, telling me to come back to his room, which I thought was horrific.
Did you go?
No, absolutely not.
I thought that story was going to go another way.
That was a low-hanging fruit question.
But then I just recently did another reading for this guy I was a special guest at White Hill Mansion, which is a big paracon in the paranormal industry. And my first reading of the day was this man who gave me like the grossest feeling. Like, a lot of the reading was talking about like how his wife, they sat together too. It has to do with like his sexual fantasies and just it got really weird really
We are the
fast.
worst as like a male species. It's
Definitely.
Like, it really breaks down to like that's what it is.
Only a couple
But
things.
there's other things too. I had this bougie rich girl who I'm explaining to her how her dad died and the life that they all had prior to his passing. I talked about his brother, her brother, her mother, all the family members. And she's like, my dad's been dead for 10 years. And that's what he wants to talk about. He wants to tell me how he died. I'm like, yeah, this way, I'm not bullshitting you and that this is real. Like, that's the whole point. Let me begin and then we can get into more details. So there's some weird situations that I do encounter, but I really put like keep that away from me. Like, keep it away.
What do you have to say for the people who are like, listen, there's bad apples in every industry. Mine, theirs,
Of course.
yours.
Absolutely.
What do you have to say for the damage that they do, trying to maybe just read the person in general? Like,
oh, you're talking about like all the phonies out there?
yeah.
I'm a huge skeptic, just so you know. I am such a skeptic when it comes to other psychics and mediums. That's why I try to stay away from like these expos and things where you've got all these different readers. It reminds me of like speed dating. I hate going to those because a lot of them are sitting there with tarot cards. No offense to anybody who's listening to this. Tarot cards, oracle cards, weird ruins. I was watching this one lady once throwing bones into like this pot and like putting hot sauce and spitting in it and all these crazy things. I'm a big skeptic. The reason why I'm such a skeptic is because I know what I could do and what I'm doing and how mind-blowing it is.
That lady was Haitian, right?
No, she was definitely not Haitian.
We do like a couple Haitian funerals a year, and there's 2 sects of Haitians. There's Catholic Haitians and Voodoo Haitians.
Okay.
Buckle up.
Well,
The latter side
there's some
is
weird
a lot.
stuff out there. And I think it is BS when people are relaying such vague information like, Grandma loves you. Obviously, you're 60-year-old. You're a 60-year-old woman. Your grandma's obviously probably on the other side. Just, I'm a huge skeptic.
I guess so. But I'm a reverse skeptic.
Okay.
In the moment, I'm like, hey, I know. And then I go home and I'm like, fuck, I left my Facebook open. And it's like, and then you
well, I'm
going
going to do weird things. Like, I'm going to talk about like I just did a gallery reading in Patchogue for suicide awareness. About 100 people were in that room. It was beautiful. And one of the women I read during the show, I talked about how she had this picture in her pocketbook of her father and the hat he was wearing, and how it was like the exact color, like how it was like black and white. And she sits down and pulls it out of her pocketbook, and like I'm standing there.
So you described the picture color?
Everything. Okay. Color, the hat, all the details, how he was in uniform, because he was actually a firefighter, you know, during his time. My jaw was hanging. Moments like that blow me away. Like, I want to be blown away too. Like, right. I want to be undeniable. Like, holy cow, like this, because scientifically I can't explain any of this. And it happened with 2 other people. This woman had a necklace under her clothes, and the mother was telling me, like, ask her about the necklace, tell her to show, like, you know, show me the jewelry. So you can't even see that she's wearing it, and she pulls it out. She's wearing her mother's necklace. That also happened with one other person with a pair of earrings she was wearing. Like, I want like the weird, undeniable, evidential information.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But even for myself, like for myself as well, I want to be blown away.
Are you able to do, I think the term is like remote viewing?
So I do that in the paranormal industry. I actually go to Patchogue Float Place a lot, and I'll book myself.
So how is that?
Sessions.
I'm scared that I'm going to do it and have like an all-out panic attack.
You'll probably fall asleep.
Yeah?
Yeah. Just like give it like 30 minutes for your brain to turn off. Pretty much. You'll be fine. Use the biggest tank. It's called the infinity tank. Okay. It won't be the smallest.
I want to do it so bad.
It is I really recommend it. I try to send so many clients there.
Do you know what that is?
I really do.
What's the guy's name?
I will give you right? I have a special code and everything that I could give you for a discount.
Harvey, what's his name?
Hardy,
that's it, yeah. I've done it a few times. It's interesting. Time goes fast.
Spirit behind me.
Yeah.
In anguish.
In anguish. But I'll use the deprivation tank to remote view a location that I'm being sent to because I work in the paranormal industry. Yeah. I love working in the paranormal industry. I love getting sent to the scariest places on earth. It's really cool. There's been a few times where I don't know where I am going. I'm literally being blindfolded and driven out of state to other states. Whoa. And I'll go into the deprivation tank.
Oh, not physically, before. Actually, not in the actual...
This is after my deprivation. So prior to being sent out, like 2 days prior, I'll go to the flow place. I'll go to the flow place and I'll go into the deprivation. And I go in with the intention of show me the haunting. Show me where I'm going. Show me what's happening there. And I recently...
Not worried that shit's going to follow you home?
It's terrifying sometimes.
Dude, I work in the funeral home, and I've only had a few, like, you know...
I would love to come to your funeral
weird
home.
experiences. We could go right after this.
I would love to go there.
The first girl I took there. I'm kidding. Be the third. No, I'm just kidding. But I don't even watch scary movies anymore.
I don't
want to be looking over my back at work, honestly.
Oh, that's my career.
Yeah.
Wait, but the float tank thing, you're doing that for somebody else or just for yourself?
Clarity.
I'm doing it for locations I'm being sent to. So I have been doing this for a place in Columbia, PA called My Haunted Manor USA. It's the Samuel Miller Mansion. I wasn't supposed to be going. I was invited last minute as a guest. Didn't know the history whatsoever. I went into the tank. I wanted to see what was happening. I connected to something that has nothing to do with the history at all at this location. Daryl Marston from Ghost Hunters, he actually runs the place. And when I went there, I presented them my notes. And it's all on video. They were all blown away. They were like, what the hell?
Wow.
How do you know any of this information? None of this has been released yet to the public. I kept talking about this really scary woman, black, long, stringy hair, literally naked, but with no gender parts. And
my mom's at it again.
One red eye, one black, brownish eye.
Whoa.
But they caught her on camera at the manor.
That's a tortured soul, though, right? Like that's what
it is not human. This is something that is not human.
Do you think that was never human?
Never human. Never human. Definitely not human.
So what was she doing on the camera?
So they brought an artifact into the building, which nobody knew about. Daryl Marston brought it back from Louisiana or something. And when they brought it into the building, stuff started to occur.
Wow.
So I had all these notes. I presented to them. They were blown away. There's actually an episode on YouTube called Medium Bianca Rose's Visions at My Haunted Manor USA, because it's a show on YouTube and on Amazon Prime. So there's like a half-hour video talking about my deprivation sessions and how I encountered their thing in the manor, which literally has nothing to do with their history. Columbia, PA should have been where Gettysburg would have taken place. The War of Gettysburg. But what happened was...
Do you ever go there?
Yes,
Gettysburg?
Of course. Tons of investigations
There's
there. I'm performing there either in July.
There's a palpable, like... You could feel it's different there. The air is different.
I'm performing a gallery reading at the David Stewart Farm. I believe it's July, and it's a full overnight camp out on the property of one of the original field hospitals, literally on the road where they all marched out once the war ended.
Just not.
I'm excited for that.
You're braver than me.
Yeah.
Down in the Xanax.
No.
What are some other places like that are like well known?
I will be performing at the end of August. I believe it's August 30th at Ohio State Reformatory. I've never been there in my life. That's where they filmed Shawshank Redemption. I'm really excited for that. I'll be doing a deprivation before going there probably. I'm everywhere.
What about on Long Island? Are there like more?
So I've done a lot of work with Rogers Mansion out east, which is the Southampton History Museum. That place is haunted.
Wow.
So haunted. I have had such crazy experiences there. I've caught crazy EVPs. One time in the slave quarters, I saw a woman in all white standing at the end of the hall, and I have a group of people with me too. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, did anyone see that?
Ma'am, you have to stay back with the group.
Well, the best part is I have a recorder on my body during this moment. And what I didn't know until later on when I'm doing my analysis is you hear her go, we're over here.
Oh, yikes.
Which is so cool and so validating for what I am saying.
I think that's like an Eddie Murphy joke. It's like when they go in the house and they love the house and all they hear is, get out.
Yeah.
And then like they're always like, oh, and all the white people, they gotta stay. Yeah. He's like, not me, fuck that. I hear get out, I'm gone.
Yeah, that is him. Yep.
Yeah, I think there's something to it. I've had a couple unexplainable weird incidences at the funeral home. One that comes to mind for me is when I was younger. By no means am I saying I have any psychic ability, but I do believe that we all have it in us. We just I think it gets turned off. Where I think it gets turned back on is when you get closer to death, and that's why you see. I know they may say you're just hallucinating, which very well could be true.
Talk about that a lot with dementia patients.
But I think in your final stages of death, people reach out to loved ones. They have conversations with loved ones.
Absolutely.
I think that. Yes, that could be a hallucination, but I think there's some sort of energy to that. I think that your loved one's coming to get you.
Well, my theory is, especially with somebody who has dementia or Alzheimer's, think about it, the brain is now changing. It's literally shrinking, it's reforming, it's turning into something that it wasn't before. So I think what's happening is it's literally opening up that part of the brain that allows you to communicate.
It's like a reset button.
So that is a huge thing that I talk about often with people who have dementia or Alzheimer's.
We had a funeral. This was like when I first started, and I have like my little quirks about me, about my building, and like there's areas where like still to this day I'm 40 years old. I'll go to that specific place in my building and I get like an uncomfortable feeling, like a nothing bad, but just like I'm not by myself feeling. So I kind of just avoid that spot in my building most of the time. But when I was younger, we did a funeral, and I swear to God that this woman winked at me. She was dead, I promise, and I didn't think anything of it. That's weird. You'll hear stories from people, like, oh, bodies sit up. They don't. I've been a funeral director.
That's more of like
it's a movie,
a nerve thing.
It's rigor mortis.
Like the nerve.
So it's a postmortem stiffening of joints.
Right.
So what happens is you may get like a little, but all that is the muscle getting stiff, and then the little play on the tendon. You may see the tiniest twitch.
Right.
No one is sitting up or reaching for the sky or anything like that.
I hope not.
No, you would know.
I would
trust
run.
me. I would literally run.
I would run.
I'd be in a mental institution afterwards too.
There's times where I run during my scary investigations.
Yeah, I believe it. So anyway, the wake goes on, and everybody's like winking at each other, and I'm like, I gotta ask you a question. I go, why are you guys all winking at her? That was like her thing. She winked at everybody all the time, and I was very rarely in my life am I at a loss for words, and I was just like, oh. Okay, I'm pretty sure your mom winked at me too. Well, we wouldn't be surprised. And they were so nonchalant about it. And I was just like I think I took the next 2 days off. I just was like, all right, that's enough. Weird.
I love that. I do love that.
And then I get like some, like every now and then, it doesn't happen often. It happened a lot more when I was younger. But like sometimes I get like that dread feeling. Specifically in one place.
Where you could feel something. Like you could literally feel it like down to your core.
Dread, not in your stomach, like that, not to be gross, like the diarrhea feeling.
Is this downstairs?
No, we're one level. Handicap friendly.
Where's your what is
on the embalming room, opposite side of the building.
Like backside?
Like so you would walk up to the back of the building. There's the entranceway in. There's a garage, and it's on the other side of that. Where that happens is literally on the other side of the building.
Okay, not where you have all your funerals.
No.
Interesting.
No, and I mean, I'll go into rooms with lights off with people in there, and it just never bothered me. Every now and then I'll get a.
This is family business. It's been passed down to you.
Yeah, 2025. I think we'll come up on 103 years, 105, 4 years.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's cool.
It's a lot of pressure. Doesn't seem like it, but it is. Yeah, I don't want to screw it up. There's a whole legacy there.
You better not screw it up.
I know, no shit.
Do you have a guess?
Why, you know something?
No, I'm just curious. I find
also,
it fascinating.
we hit $100 in the room.
Wait, what?
We hit $100 in the room before you came in. It's yours if you
hit
can
it?
find. Yeah.
Stop. What did I say earlier about? All right, just give me some time.
You probably said you can't see the future.
So it's not me. It's whoever I'm talking to has to. Does that make sense? I don't claim myself.
Yeah, you're a channel.
Exactly.
Like a lightning. What's the right word?
Conductor.
There you go. Yeah, you're a conductor for the energy. I completely understand.
Is it in this area over here?
No.
And it's in this room?
No, I completely made it up.
Is it in your pocket?
It's in Venmo.
Got it.
But hand it over.
Got it. Do people ever bring like psychic mediums to funerals, or like it's too soon?
No, you know what? When you guys
have been brought.
When you guys were talking, I've mentioned this to my wife. I wanted to invite every year a year's worth of my funerals to my funeral home.
That's a good idea.
And have a psychic medium do readings, and whoever gets read gets read, completely free to their families. But I had a few people go, nah, it's kind of tacky. You shouldn't do it.
If you had the right one, it's not.
I thought it was a really good idea.
It's up to, well, one, it's going to be up to the family. But I was brought to a family's funeral. Literally, I helped them with before the passing. They had me at the funeral. Then they had me after the funeral work with this family for like a year.
You know what that is?
It was like an end-of-life doula.
Yeah, death doula.
Even though I'm technically not, certified, but...
It's all right.
But that was really interesting.
Did you see the person pass?
I helped them through it, like leading up to it and everything.
I've seen a few people actually die, and it's a weird experience. It's very like...
I didn't sit with them during the passing.
Yeah, I've seen two people die, like, for sure. One was a young man who, his name was Anthony. He had leukemia. It was a big roller coaster. It was like it was actually my girlfriend's brother from high school. Very nice people, but he got leukemia. It looked good, didn't look good, looked good, didn't look good. Bone marrow transplant it took, and then like off a cliff. It was a very emotional ride. And when he died, it was like we were there. You could visibly see like I don't know the right words, like the extinction of life come out of somebody when they die. It's not that you could see the soul leave the body, but you see the energy just dissipate.
I have never sat with a human during their actual moment of passing, but I did for my one dog. I had him pass in my arms, and I could feel the transition. I could feel him leave. But even with people who are not psychic mediums, I've had numerous clientele explain to me how they sat there, their loved ones explained to me how they sat there in that moment and maybe what they were doing. Like, were they holding their hand? Were they laying on the bed? Were they just sitting on the side? And then the client will confirm with me sometimes. They'll be like, you know what? I really, I felt the entire energy of their soul go through me and then leave.
I think I felt in that moment, which I don't have any guilt towards it, but I felt relief that it was like, we picked a street, we went, and that's the way we're going. And unfortunately, he passed, God rest his soul. He was, a beautiful person inside and out. And I remember they gave him Motrin, that I don't think it ever got down, because I remember his lips being stained with the orange dye from the Motrin. Like that really sticks out in my head. But you know, he's been deceased a long time. We went and saw a psychic medium. He's an older man. He's in Merrick, I think.
Jeffrey Wands?
Nope.
I don't know.
John?
I keep hearing this Jeffrey Wands guy.
No,
lately.
there's a guy. It's not John. John
Edwards?
It's not John Edwards. My father kept calling him John. His name is not John. It was like,
Was he
now
good?
it's like a joke. So he was good in that instance. He told me, he's like, hey, you have a prayer card in your pocket. And I was like, yeah, probably so is everybody in here. He's like, yeah, but this one is special because what happened was, this is going to sound super corny, but when we were young, when he died, they kept calling him Superman because like how much of a fight he put up. So I had like the original Superman when he died in the comics. There's like a mourning band that you could put on his arm that I put on his arm, and it also came with a playing card / prayer card. So they used that playing card. I gave it to the family. I go, I think I got a good idea. We could make this the front of the card. So it was like, you know, they like pointed that out to me and like went above and beyond to say like how appreciative he was. And I was a total puddle at the time.
Did he talk about the Superman part?
Yes. Like, like a lot. He really nailed that one. But then I saw him a few years later, and I swear to God, I thought he was drunk the whole time. It was just weird. It was like, you know, saying things that just didn't relate to me, and like, your grandmother was so happy. No, it was a one-on-one.
Like a gallery?
A one-on-one.
Oh, it was
It was like, oh, your grandmother was so happy with the dress that you picked out. I didn't pick the dress out. You know, like stuff like that. Like, but weird. Names that didn't make sense. You know, like you hear them be like, somebody in your life with a J, which is like the most popular letter in the alphabet for names. And it was just like, nobody.
That's one thing I could tell you, though, that I suck with during my readings is names. So when a name comes through, I'm like, oh, I am blown away. But I think that literally has to do with names here in the living. I think I forgot all 3 of your names already. No offense.
Mine's on the wall.
Anyway, this is my point. I'm so bad with names here in the living. I believe that overflows to the other side. That is the only thing that I could come up with for that for some reason, if that makes sense.
That makes sense.
But when a name comes through, I'm like, holy shit.
I mean, you are who you are, right? So I'm terrible. With
Right.
too.
I don't know. It blows me away. I did a reading recently, though, for a man who passed in 9/11. And he told me how his name was John, which is a common name, but how the new husband's name was John. And I'm sitting there like, this is so cool. I don't know. Those moments like really make me smile and light
We
up.
did an interview with a 9/11 survivor. Jesus. He was a unique individual. It really was.
I wasn't here for it, but
I know.
he talked for about 90 minutes straight. No one else said anything.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, harmless, super nice guy. I'm not talking bad about him, but out there, different, which is good. I've learned to appreciate different as I got older. You know, for a long time, I was just, you know, I would hang out with carbon copies of myself. And as I hit like my mid 30s, I was like, this guy's so weird. Why is he like that? And then you start talking to him, and it's like, that's just who he is. Who gives a shit? You're either cool or you're not, right?
Makes it more interesting.
Everyone's got their own tribe.
Certainly does.
Everyone's got their own tribe. Everyone's got their own preferences.
Yeah. So what do you think about that idea I had? My genius idea.
The Superman?
No, the funeral home stuff.
I think that's really cool. I think that's beautiful.
Well, you're afraid that you're going to like offend somebody? It's like people would come who would want to come. And what's that?
But the thing is, the family's grieving.
I'm talking about like a calendar
year.
year later.
Oh, like
So,
they come
like,
back?
And for some instances, it would be 2 years. So like, let's say like we end.
This is a free service for them?
Yeah. So we end 25, you know, like maybe around Christmas, like a little give back, a little.
I think it's beautiful. As long as they're open to it.
You might be partial,
Not
to be
everyone.
fair.
Wait, what?
You might be partial
Partial.
to me doing it.
Okay.
I don't know. I thought it was a good idea, and then I had like a few people kind of like try to.
It
talk
really
me out of
depends on who you're targeting.
I mean,
Just my customers.
Religion.
but you do like
Okay,
130 funerals a year, right?
Yeah,
So like if 10 people were into it and wanted to show up, you think it would offend more than that?
I think it would be more than 10 people.
Definitely.
Oh, this is open to like everybody who had funerals for the year.
Yeah.
Not just one set group.
I would probably have to do like 2 or 3 sessions.
Yeah, that you'd probably get a huge. Everyone's getting a free gallery reading. if everyone's getting a free gallery viewing from me, you're going to have like multiple, like.
What do you think? What's your opinion on like the Long Island medium? Not to completely make a right turn there.
I've heard. So I just did.
Jesse rubbed off on me there.
I just did a gallery reading in Huntington, and one of the women who came, I read her family, her dad was so clear. He had me cracking up. He was making jokes about how his ashes were upstate and the Catskills and just all the things. He was so great. That was such a good reading.
Like, how would you, like, there's no way you could know that.
Yeah, I wouldn't know shit. I don't know why I'm like this. I have no answer scientifically at all. But at the end of that reading, at the end of the show, she comes up to me to hug me. And she's like, I need you to know how great you are. She's like, I used to work in Bloomingdale's, I think she said, in the city, in the hair department. And Teresa Caputo used to come in all the time. She's like, that woman is a fake compared to what you could do. And I was like, oh.
Wow.
I'm like, wow. I'm like, thank you. So I've heard mixed opinions. I've never met her personally. But what I'm pretty sure she doesn't even offer private sessions anymore. But I've also heard like she still offers her services to the police for free.
Yeah, there's some people that like. There was one woman I saw.
But she does TV still. That she does do still.
I don't know. We there's a woman that I'm listening. The FBI uses psychic mediums, so there's got to be something to it to find people.
I've done missing person cases. I did one in Canada. Never been to Canada in my life, and I did one for California.
Hey, do me a favor. Can you tell me where my fucking keys went? Can't find them again.
I've done weird stuff like that. But both those cases, I've never been to California and I've never been to Canada. And I cracked both cases.
So let's say we go back to the funeral home, you and me. Not in a weird way.
Okay.
Well, kind of in a weird way.
It is weird.
Like, what would you be looking for in there?
I just want to walk in there.
Kind of.
I would love to do an investigation. I would love to do like a sleepover kind of
What
thing.
if I didn't want to know the results?
You don't have to know the results. I'll keep them to myself. I'm dying to sleep in a funeral home. I want to do it overnight.
I just did it like 2 hours ago. Just conked out in the middle of the day.
Yeah, but things get different at night and...
Yeah, things go bumping tonight.
Have you ever been there like overnight, late at night?
Yeah. Back in the day, I'd get hammered out in Babylon Village.
But
and
then you're
instead of going
it.
back to Wanto, I'd go to Babylon. I'd just sleep on the couch. And then I'd wake up for work. Like,
But you never woke up in a coffin, though.
People would be like, zombie.
That's a good thing.
Never made that mistake?
I scared the shit out of a temporary male woman once, though. So I'm going to generalize an entire race. Big surprise, right? So in my experience, African Americans don't tend to do well in funeral homes. For whatever reason it is. We have a temporary, I was out at a bar. I was young, probably like 25, 27. And I had to work the next day. So rather than going back to Wantor, I went to the funeral home, slept on the couch. And then wasn't feeling great. So I opened the door, have the cordless phone on my chest. I'm laying down on the couch. She walks in the door and the little bell goes, dings. So I get up, I probably looked so disheveled. I looked like a zombie probably. I get up and I have this big lobby, right? And then when you walk in the back door, it's all lobby to the left and then a hallway where all the chapels and the viewing rooms are. She literally throws the mail when she sees me get up, throws the mail and runs into and for some reason she didn't run out of the building. She ran into the hallway where the actual dead people were. And then she literally ran like a Usain Bolt 40-yard dash out the back door. Never saw her again. Nothing. No screams, nothing.
Just gone,
dude. Like lightning.
You're very spiritual. I get, all races, all cultures. And
is race a thing, you think, on the other side still or no?
No, because I've done readings for... that was actually a question at one of my last shows, maybe like 2 shows ago. And she's like, how did you talk to my family? They don't speak English. And I'm like, I don't know. I really don't. But the thing is, I was able to explain how she didn't even pass here in America. She passed back in her country, how she's buried in this beautiful cemetery there, how they're not like American cemeteries. And I don't know.
I started to appreciate culture.
Language has no barrier.
No. It's just
for the
words.
deceased.
The words are just made up. It's all based on a feeling.
I don't know.
All words are made up in reality. But I've really learned to appreciate culture as I got older.
Same.
We did an Indian funeral, Indian from India, and it was probably the most beautiful ceremony I've ever seen.
Probably because their weddings are gorgeous.
Yeah, so they open the casket, right? It's towards the end, and they lined this woman from just her face was exposed, just like head to toe in roses. And I was like, wow. I was like, that was like, I'd never seen anything like that before. And I was like, you know, not that it took my breath away, but I was like, you know, I can appreciate this. And it was like, it was refreshing to see, especially nowadays too, where so people aren't really, not only not religious, but they're not spiritual at all. And it's just kind of like, well, can you just cremate them or can you just bury them? And it's like, no, let's just honor them, you know, and I'll like, try to help out on the bill and stuff to try to help with that. But, you know, people are kind of losing their way with that stuff.
They do.
You know?
They do. I'm so grateful to be where I am and the things I know. But even so, I'm still like, I'm human.
Yeah, of course. So. I have a buddy of mine, my best friend Joe. He went and saw Gary Joseph. And this guy told him the day his son was going to be born, not by his actual, no, well, by her actual baby doctor, whatever it's called. Uh-huh. And there was going to be an issue at the hospital. Check, check, check. To the day. And I wanted to be so skeptical about it, but like I just couldn't. Like the proof was in the pudding. The doctor was on vacation. There was an issue at the hospital, I think, where they like she went there and they sent her home, and like they had to like bully their way back to the hospital. And he was born on that day, which is a day he didn't really want him to be born. He wanted him to be born on a different day. But like, how do you explain that?
I don't know. I've had some really strange readings where like medical things. I was at this guy, his house like 4 years ago or something, and I told him that something really bad was going to happen to him. I have no recollection of this, but that he would end up being okay eventually. And I was talking about like his like health, like something devastating was going to happen to him, and I didn't have an answer for him at the time. That's all I could really tell him. I get a call maybe earlier this year, and he's like, I need you to know. I need you to come to my house immediately. I need you to come back for another reading. He goes, after that reading, a week later, I woke up paralyzed in my bed. He had a stroke in his sleep. And he's like, I just spent the last few years rehabilitating myself to moving again. And then there's been other ones where I'm like, I'm told to send, say, this woman's husband to the doctor because they're talking about his heart or her heart. And they'll come back to me being like, you saved my life. I'm like, I didn't save your life. They saved your life.
Right.
But they'll be so blown away. This one woman, I read her all the way on the west side of PA in Windber, Pennsylvania, middle of nowhere. And I told her that something was wrong with her heart. She wrote me an email about 6 months later saying that she went to the doctor, demanded them to do a, EKG, stress test, all the things. And the doctor's like, why? Why would you want to do that? You're fine. So they did it anyway. And then they found out that like half of her heart wasn't working or something anymore, like something devastating. Wow. And the guy's like, how did you know this? And she's like, well, the psychic. Wow. And he's like,
a
what?
voodoo lady told me.
What? And she just like reached out to thank me. Moments like that, I'm like,
yeah, it's powerful.
Like, holy shit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like,
and I'm not a doctor. I don't know anything medically. Like,
do people have negative reactions to like what you tell them?
I've only encountered that with like family occasionally. Like my cousin, her grandma's husband, her grandpa came to me. This is in like the beginning of my business. And he came to me and told me to tell my cousin, like, something really bad's about to happen to grandma. She's going to have a heart attack and she might die. She wouldn't listen to me, flipped out on me, hung up on me, and wouldn't talk to me for a while. Like a few months goes by. She calls me and she's like, without saying, Bianca, you were right, that her grandma had a massive heart attack and ended up in the hospital and they didn't know if she was going to make it or not. And I didn't say like, I told you so. I just said, I am so sorry.
I got to give you some business cards. Jeez, you a walk-in lead machine for me.
Yeah. Stop.
What about like, you said before, your dog. What about like pets or animals or other things that aren't people?
Dogs always come through during readings. Those are like children.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll get like a bunch, like obviously this person had like 5 dogs, but there'll be this one specific dog that was like the most important. And, I'll explain like, did they have to help them cross over? Or did they pass naturally? And do we have their ashes, or did we bury them in the yard, or the entire thing? Like their ashes will be like specifically in the living room, you know, on whatever mantle or, you know, piece of furniture with the paw print and the collar. And we kept the dog bed with the toys. Like I want the exact details. So I do bring forward.
Sounds like you're doing a reading right now for me.
People's animals. They're really important. The strangest animals I've ever pulled through, I've had horses for like where they literally like had to like bring in like a big whatever, you know, big machine to dig a hole out in their property to bury the horses. A sulcata tortoise. That was really cool. I have one. It's a little baby right now. It's literally the 3rd largest tortoise in the world.
I saw a thing, speaking of tortoises, there's like a paralysis tortoise. It could be complete BS.
No clue.
So it's like its shell is covered in like something that like if you touch it for too long, it's transdermal. And like you get temporary paralysis. And this kid face planted. He was trying to help it get out of the road, and he just ate it right into the concrete.
Definitely not sulcata tortoise.
No, you would know.
Yeah.
Where'd you see that?
What do you think?
Facebook,
right
Instagram,
on the 495.
TikTok.
Yeah, no, it was TikTok or Instagram, one or the other. We get lost in those every now and then.
I definitely try not to get lost in that.
No, I do.
I feel like my brain is melting.
Are there people that specifically do what you do that like that's the way that they promote themselves?
I've never met anybody who does what I do. Okay. And I would love to.
What about like the online stuff? Like there's people that'll do like virtuals?
I actually used to do, well, one, I do offer Zoom readings, but I like it to be face-to-face over Zoom.
Yeah, I think there's energy involved.
There's really like, I could do it remotely. For instance, I can do it remotely. I don't even have to get on the phone with you. I could sit down, write everything down, just give you the piece of paper. I have some older clients who still like to do over the phone. I hate doing that because I'm trying to hold the phone and I'm trying to use my hand. And it's just too much. Literally, like
you have to use your hand for every reading?
Don't. You know what I've noticed actually this month? That during my readings, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm just sitting here and I'm like, this is weird.
Why probably better.
I don't know if I'm changing.
That guy Gary Joseph, when we saw him, he was like, he was there. He wasn't there, but it was like he was doing a lot of this with a pen and paper.
Some people will do the scribbling.
Yeah.
Or I used to try to write out everything. And I'm like, this is too much. Record me with your phone and I will just go. Yeah. So I allow everyone to record me and videotape me now.
He gave me the thing, and in the middle of it, in like all capital letters, circled 100 times, was like, he is an empath?
Empath?
Yeah.
Who is an empath?
Me.
You?
Yeah, that's what he said.
That's when you feel like everybody's emotions.
Circles around it. And I was just, he was like, you have. And I was like, stop talking. I don't want to know.
So an empath is kind of like when you're like a sponge, where you're like kind of picking up on the emotions of all the people around you.
Right.
That's what an empath is, where you feel
energy. Yeah, I could definitely. It's probably why I'm so good at my job.
But sometimes it'll affect you.
I get ups and downs.
You need to clear.
I'm not a depressed person, but
like you could bring that energy home with you when it comes to being an empath.
Yeah, it's created some anxiety in my life. I'm for sure. That business, it's all death, all sad, all the time. It's not like
right. There's
no happy endings. No, like in that moment.
Right. Yes. Sometimes. I've had weird experiences with clients.
Yeah, listen, there's a sense of relief when people who are sick and old and they linger and they become a burden.
I've done some readings where the woman's like, when is my mom going to die? How many months exactly? Like we're waiting for the money kind of thing. And I'm like, this is really like crazy right now. Like they want to know how quickly they're going to get the money.
Right. So now like when you close that off, is there any lingering effects?
When I do a big show, or say I perform at Penhurst Asylum 2 days in a row, readings all day, I am not okay for a few days, like at all. By the time I'm done actually with the show, if you were to try to have a normal conversation with me, I look drunk or high. It is so weird. Like I completely get way out there. Like I'm not okay. So the way I bring myself back is, well, one, you should definitely drink a lot of water, which I don't do. French fries is really good.
Salt.
It like grounds you. It like kind of brings you back in your body.
Salt is the what's that stuff in Gatorade?
Electrolytes.
Maybe. I think. Well,
and they're delicious.
Well, the way I see it, it's grounding. French fries are potatoes. They grow in the ground.
However you want to justify eating the French fries, that's you. I'm with you.
Exactly. But it's weird. After a big big event, or say I do a house party and I'm there from like 12 in the afternoon to like 9 o'clock at night, 10 o'clock at night doing readings, I am not okay. There's been times where I have to pull over like at least 3 times, especially because I'm doing things different. I'm not doing it the way other psychic mediums do. I'm literally a channel, and I'm stepping out of my body and allowing a million souls to talk to me. Say I read like 18 people at the house, and each person has at least like 3 loved ones and maybe a pet.
So when you step out of your body, like I'm just trying to like envision, are you like in the upside down?
I love to compare sometimes the other side to the upside down. Like,
well, like there was that other movie that's terrifying where she wears the mask.
No, whatever you're about to say, no. I just kind of like step over, like as if I'm like here, and I focus on everything.
Yogurt.
I focus on everything that they want to say. So before I begin a reading, I have a process. I ask my guides to clear me of my own personal emotions, feelings, and thoughts. I ask for protection. Typically, I use Archangel Michael. Then from there,
That's a good one.
From there, I ask my gatekeepers. I imagine like a gate kind of opening, and I ask them to open up the gates to say it's a show or a big house party to everyone that I will be sitting with, one soul at a time, to their higher selves, their soul, to their spirit guides, and to all of their loved ones on the other side. And then from there, I ask everyone that I will be communicating with to please step forward, one soul at a time. I want them to step forward in order. Literally, however you all died, it needs to be in order. Say mom, dad, sister, dog. Like, I want you all to step forward in order so I know the sequence of who passes first.
Do you have any rhyme or reason to, like, I've gone to psychic mediums and it 100% in the bag thought, like, guaranteed this person is going to show up.
I pull forward as many as I can.
And
it's
I
not
never,
just one. It is not just one.
Even on one-on-ones.
I want every single person to step forward in order.
What are they saying to you? You guys didn't hear
Someone
anything,
is
right?
an asshole.
It's John.
So I open up and I set the intention. Everyone step forward in order, one at a time. Make sure you bring forward evidential information. I want names, dates, validations, clear, precise messages, one soul at a time. And come forward in order. And literally only while I'm talking to you or when I'm talking to you. Like, I kind of like set like rules because I want them to do specific things. And then that's it. And then I begin.
Did they ever break your barrier when you shut the gate? Did you ever get like a, yo, bitch, I'm talking to you? Sometimes
I'll have a lot of chatter in my head. Like, while I'm like, I'll go home and I'll still have all this like noise and like random sentences. And I'm like, shut up already. Like, we're done. Like, I'm over. Like, this is done. It'll be like a lot of noise, like random thoughts, random sentences.
Have any of them ever like propelled you into finding somebody? And,
what do you
like
mean?
Delivering that message, like something so extreme or urgent?
I try not to do that. And I was telling her earlier how I did that to my children's dentist once. I was sitting in the waiting room and I kept hearing his mom going, you need to tell him like how I know how he has this entire jewelry collection, not just like a necklace or a ring, like how he kept like so much gold, like this crazy collection. So I relay the message to the secretary because he had clients and I didn't want to like upset him while he was working on the rest of the clients. And I leave. A week later, I get a phone call that they are not taking my insurance anymore.
Oh, wow.
So I really don't like to do that because you're crossing a line. You are literally invading someone's space. You know, you don't know if somebody wants to be read or if they want to connect to their loved ones. You could have someone's dad coming through and that guy was like an abusive psycho or something in life, you know? So if people want me, they have to book me. And one, I'm way too busy to just start giving out free readings anymore. I really like... Not to sound, you know, but I get really, like, I don't even have the time to do that anymore. I used to actually do that on Instagram. I'd go live and I would do free readings and just have them hop on, like, you know, where you pull one person on, do the reading, they get off, and the next comes on. I used to love doing that all the time when I had more time, but now I don't.
Yeah, well, that's a good thing, though. You turn it into something that you're able to, you know, provide for yourself. I have mixed emotions, not about that, but about, like, you have such a gift to offer to everybody. I know you have to take care of yourself. Like,
I don't charge a lot.
I'm not naive in that fact
when it comes
at
to
all.
the pay thing, when it comes to the price. So one, this is my full career. And I don't just do this like Long Island. I do it like worldwide. And I also work in the paranormal field. which is really cool. I love doing that. I'm the medium for Long Island paranormal investigators. And then I also get hired by other reputable people in the field, like Dave Giuliano, who's a very well-known demonologist. A lot of the people that you see on like all the ghost shows.
Zach Bagans.
I have not collaborated with him, but that'd be cool. I'd be open to it, even though everything's a demon.
Yeah, there's never like a pleasant.
No,
oh, it's a Victorian era
okay.
lady just sitting in the corner hanging out.
That's okay. He's made a name for himself. So
yeah, I think he's done very well for himself.
He has. I work with Daryl Marston from Ghost Hunters. I work with a lot of really cool, reputable people in the field. So this is my full career. You know, it pays my bills. I don't charge a lot. As of now, I'm only charging $100 for an hour reading and $65 for a half-hour session. Everyone tells me that I'm absolutely crazy because of what I do and what I'm capable of doing and how I should be charging so much more, because these other mediums who have the same reputation or who are good, they're charging $350 for an hour. I would never do that, because how am I going to help all of the people who are in need?
Have you ever done a reading like in a setting like this?
On camera?
Yeah.
Well, I've done them online and stuff.
Oh yeah.
You know, I've done them. Yeah, I've done them on, you know, free Instagram shows and stuff to give back, like around Mother's Day or Father's Day, or, you know, I did it last year, I think, in honor of my birthday. I did a free,
When's your birthday?
Live February.
Is there like seasonality to it? Like more, it's busier in certain times of the year?
What do you mean?
Like you just
Like
said,
with
Mother's
my
Day,
career?
Father's Day,
I noticed it really.
Halloween.
Well, right now it's just crazy. So I won the Best of Long Island, as you all know. So after that happened, it just got out of control.
Yeah.
Prove it. That's what I'm getting at.
You should
Find
bring me
100.
back here and we should do a live kind of thing where we do with special guests, have random people come.
It's a good idea.
I got a whole list of influencers you can make cry.
But I don't want, it should be people who I can't Google. Like you should bring in people who, you know, like, not that maybe their public lives are, you know, and how the hell am I going to know who you're even going to have here on top of it?
Yeah,
you know, like
true.
we can't, I'm totally open to doing something like
Bring
that.
him in with a bag over your head. Joe, come here. I got to talk to you for a minute.
Yeah.
Just don't panic. Just everything's going to be fine.
That's really cool.
You gotta just trust
like
me.
That. I kind of like that. I like.
We should do it at the funeral home. Can we do that on camera?
Just mask people.
Definitely.
And
We should schedule that before you leave.
I'm totally open to that.
How many people? What's like your max you would want to do?
Readings?
Yeah, in like that type of setting. We're going to set
It's
up
up to
cameras.
you.
We're going to sneak them in. You will have no idea who they are, and then
We could do at least 5.
Okay.
How long is it? Depends each time.
Like when I do a house party, I give everybody 20-minute private sessions, and it's $65 a person. And I allow them to record it because it's mind-blowing. And you want to keep it. It's so beautiful. It's special. It's something you want to look back on. Also, maybe something's not making sense because they're talking about something that's going to be happening in the future. And now you have this all in recording, so you could kind of review it or just keep it because it's so special and it is important.
I had one that didn't make any sense to me. The last one that my wife went to, and they said that I think it was one of my grandparents came through, and they were like, "We're really proud of him. But, you know, he's be careful. He's gonna buy another successful business." And I was like, "Get the fuck! I am so stressed out."
Well,
all
at the time, did you have this and the funeral home?
I had the funeral home and 2 florists, and I was running around like a maniac.
And this didn't exist yet.
No, this is fairly new.
So this
despite
is
how
the
popular
second
it got.
business. So technically that is correct.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the successful part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not true. I tell people all the time, I actually host an uber popular show. And they go, "Oh, yeah? I've never heard of it." I'm like, "Oh, yeah, well, you know. Why would you?"
Do you do anything for fun? Like you play pickleball? What are you into?
Pickleball. I love outdoors. I love camping. I love, you know, paddle boarding, kayaking, canoeing. Bring me out on the boat. I'm terrified of the ocean, but I'll do it anyway. I actually just went paragliding in Guatemala, like jumped off a volcano.
You got to double check, like with the other side, right? Just like, am I going to be all
Doing
right?
this?
I wanted to do anything that I was terrified of while I was there, so I did it. That was the scariest moment of my life. But afterwards, you feel like you conquered the world.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I've been skiing in the mountains of Colorado since I was 3 in some of the most scariest mountains, you know, like Vail, Beaver Creek, the back, like really crazy mountains. So
I love skiing, but as I've gotten older, it's starting to scare me. Like when you're young, it's like, yeah, it was scary.
You gotta do it every year.
But I'm trying to get my kids into it. We're trying to become like that obnoxious ski family. A lot of Patagonia gear, you know?
That's what I grew up in.
But I am up there now with my kids. I have a 9-year-old and twin 6-year-olds, and they're just going. And I'm like, oh, you know, like it's...
I get it.
Off the trail
like that with
is
the
like
ocean.
That. Ocean never bothered me.
The ocean freaks me out. Sharks.
It's monster soup.
I like to fly. She knows that because I talk to her about it every week. I have like a real weird passion for aviation that I semi-followed up on. I got 9 hours towards my private pilot's license and was just so much money at that time. And then we were getting married and we had a baby and we had to do IVF. And so like we blew through all that money. I never redid it, but just recently I've kind of like got that like itch back.
I'm dying to go skydiving. That's next on the list.
Yeah, I just don't see the point of jumping out of a perfectly
I'm
good airplane.
terrified. I'm terrified. Terrified. I just think I should do things that I'm scared of.
I heard it's not the actual fall that kills you. It's the slamming into the ground part.
Well, right. Just gonna...
It's the ground creeping up onto a maximum velocity.
Maybe I'll stick to paragliding. I don't know.
I you know what it is? I think with me is I've come to a point where all I see is Endgame. You know, so like I think over the last 12 years, that's kind of like
I've done a lot of crazy stuff.
Affected me. Me too. Weird stuff too. But you know, you get older, you have kids.
I got kids. I have twins, and I have I've got the
right?
same. It's.
I love them, but Jesus Christ.
I had my first set of twins when I was 21.
Oh wow.
Talk about, and that was like first.
What nationality are you?
I am Italian. I believe Hungarian, Spaniard. That's it.
Oh, you're a pirate.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
I guess so. I'm sure.
European pirate.
Mostly Italian. Yeah.
Yeah, and how's that looked on in like Italian culture?
You know, so my nanny didn't speak any English, but I remember her doing weird stuff, like telling ghost stories in Italian, and I remember her talking about walking into the room and this woman in all white was holding one of her babies and like just weird things. So if I would love for her, I mean, I connect with her sometimes, but like I would love for her to like tell me, were you just as weird as me? I want to know why I'm like this. Like, where is this coming from? Why is this so weird?
My Italian grandma, I'll never forget this. When I was little, you kid, you don't want to go to sleep. When I would sleep over the house, she would tell me, they live on the water in Wantagh, and she'd be like, listen, if you don't go to sleep, the sea monster is going to come out of there and he's going to get you. To this day, when I go there, I'm like, fucking sea monster. He's not going to get me. To this day.
My nanny didn't speak English.
40 years old.
She didn't speak English.
That's a good question, though. Like, how often you're doing this for other people? How often do you do it for yourself?
I'll do it occasionally for the family when people are about to cross. Like right now, like my grandma, my grandpa. I've done it for my uncle when he was passing, just, you know, when it's needed. I typically don't intentionally call them forward to talk with them. But when I go for my float sessions, my one dog, he'll show up in my visions a lot. He hasn't the past few times, but I find that very interesting, which is really cool. But sometimes they show up and I don't even mean for them to show up. Like when I'll teach like spirit development circles, like at various shops and stuff on Long Island.
What does that mean?
To help people like connect to their own abilities, their own gifts. And I'll bring a few items from my house and I won't tell the students what those items are tied to. And they always pull through my loved ones and stuff. And it's pretty cool.
What is that red ribbon?
Someone gave this to me. Another psychic at one of the expos that I was working months and months ago, and she's like, you need protection.
Yeah,
I put it on and I haven't taken it off since, only because of the crazy things that I experienced working in the paranormal field.
So you keep referencing that. So you're going into these like terrifying. What's
I
that
really love it.
knockdown building over here?
Pilgrim?
Yeah. You ever go over there?
I've done Kings Park. So I'm the medium for Long Island Paranormal Investigators. Actually, tonight I'll probably be doing an investigation, running around one of our local, Long Island legend spots. I think the scariest place that I'm afraid of is Sheep Pasture Park, which is kind of near Port Jeff. I think that's Setauket.
Okay.
I hate that place. I've had some terrifying experiences in those woods.
But there's a lot of history in those
Indian stuff, right?
Like, Frank, remember Frank was telling us about how farmers would have to defend they're shooting British people back in the day.
In Sheep Pasture Park?
Not necessarily over there, just in Long Island. Long Island's got like apparently we had like a historian on, Frank Jers, super nice guy. And he was telling us how rich Long Island culture is with like that era of colonialism and
it really
turn of the country stuff.
I work with a ton of the historical societies on Long Island. I do events for these properties where they're paranormal investigations. I set them up with Long Island paranormal investigators and the locations. I don't keep any of the money. Half the proceeds go to these properties to upkeep them. So Southampton History Museum, the Bridgehampton History Museum, Sweetbriar Nature Preserve, where else have we done? The Jephthah Lodge in Huntington. So many locations. And, the Cutjog location, Cutjog Historical Society, the oldest house on Long Island. That place is so cool. It has to do with the Wickham murders.
I don't know about those.
You should look that up. That was really cool.
What about the Amityville murders?
Amityville is not even haunted anymore.
You think it was at one point?
It was. Whatever is there is now gone. It definitely targeted the family itself.
The old Indian burial ground excuse.
But that is now gone because I have clients who lived in that house and they had cousin sleepovers and stuff. Nothing happened. So whatever that family went through went with them.
Balls on people though to buy a house like that. You know, like it's got energy. Like that retains that. There's memory there. I don't care what you tell me. I know it's sheetrock and wood, but like
I agree.
It's there. Like you need to burn that fucking thing to the ground.
Yeah, if you know that, you gotta.
Excuse my language.
Well, one of our, I don't know if it's Seacliff or Seaford, but the movie Poltergeist is based on that house.
Caroline.
On Long Island. I don't know if you guys know that.
I did not know that.
It is, I think it's the Seacliff area. That house is literally on Long Island. That is what the movie is based off of.
Have you watched that movie like at all recently?
A million times.
It's so bad now.
Good movie.
Back in the day, it was good. Now you watch it and you're like,
I love that movie.
I can see the string holding it.
I love that movie. Love it so much. That's a great movie.
I can't remember the name of I watched my son Vincent was like, can we watch The Nun? And I was like,
those movies,
we'll give it a try.
I can't watch that.
Jesus Christ.
That haunts me for days.
Hit the mute button, turn my head.
Because that nun is based on a real demon.
Yeah. I think I saw that.
I can't watch it.
What's
really
the one?
It's
the black and red demon. It's like up in the corner.
I don't know. I stay away from those.
It's a movie. I can't.
It's in the Conjuring movies.
The Conjuring, yes.
It is in the Conjuring movies.
That one scared the shit out of me too, and I felt like I had to watch every single one of them.
I work those events. I just did Warren Paracon. I got to be with all of those artifacts.
Oh, really?
A really good friend of mine, he has a show called Paranormal Theory. I've done quite a few appearances on his show. He recently was invited to Ed and Lorraine Warren's museum, which is still inside the family's home.
So that's the lady I was talking about, that they have the mask that she wears in her own thing in her house. In the movie, I don't know if it's real. Okay. In real life.
Well, all of those artifacts are real. That museum is real. My friend was just there.
Those when they put the little kids like that, and like the little ghost kids that just pop up out of nowhere, just creep the shit out of me.
Well, Hollywood does it up, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's all based on
significantly better.
Real cases. But when my friend Ryan was there, they did one of the first investigations ever there in a while inside the museum. And
can you feel it though? You could, like, when you, like, for argument's sake, if you go to like a cathedral, like not a church, not your everyday church, but if you go to like a cathedral,
you feel that energy.
You could feel it.
You could feel that energy.
All right, I'm not going to curse.
Well, yes, you feel that energy. You feel he's not a psychic or medium at all, and whatever happened, they have him on camera. Like 1 minute he's there, the next minute he just blacks out, completely passes out. He got scratched while he was in there. They had to drag him outside to bring him back because he was like really out of it. But I get to work around this stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really fascinating.
It's very interesting.
It is.
How would you coach somebody to turn it on if they thought they had it?
So I do those development classes. I teach them my opening. Literally what I was explaining to you before about opening up properly and shutting down properly. That is something that I constantly encourage to people. You don't want to just jump into this stuff. Like, everything, intention is everything. So you should be opening up properly. You should be shutting down properly. And it's more than like, it's a whole lifestyle. Like I quit smoking cigarettes. I haven't eaten red meat in like 6 years. I try to like get 8 hours of sleep before a show, drink water, eat organic. I try not to have any cannabis because I notice it does affect my readings because it's sticky, it's foggy, it's residual. So I try not to do that. What?
Ooh wee. Sound like Snoop Dogg.
Ooh wee.
Yeah.
My
sticky,
accent?
it's foggy. No, you're like sticky, it's foggy.
Sound like a commercial.
I love cannabis, but it is sticky and it is residual. So when I teach people, I teach them these things: how to open up properly, how to shut down properly, your daily practice, what you should be doing, you know.
So I know that there's no guarantees in life, but there's been multiple instances in my life where I just knew something was going to happen.
Okay.
I knew I was going to marry my wife. We didn't even meet yet. I was in a different relationship with a psychopath, and we broke up. And I was like, you know what? At the time, this woman, Jackie, who's now my mother-in-law, I was like, there's Jackie's daughter. I was like, that's what's going to be. I don't know if I put it out there in the world, but like I was certain of it.
You could have. You could have put that out to the universe.
And she was with somebody, and they were on the rocks, and just like fate. And we met in the church too.
You definitely could have put it out to the universe, but I really do believe that everything's like pre-blueprinted in life.
Think so?
I really do. Everything, even the bad stuff. I do believe that I call it like a soul contract. Like before we come to Earth, we kind of like decide like all the things that we're going to be doing for the most part.
You believe in reincarnation?
I do believe that, only because I've done some really cool stuff where I've had someone do a past life regression session with me and an Akashic record session with me.
What's that?
So the difference between those two is you're viewing past lives. Okay. Past life regression, though, you're kind of doing with a hypnotist. Like,
yeah, I'm not down with that.
They put you out. But I did this in a public setting in a college. This was at Suffolk County Community College. This was like in my teens. And we were in a big, I don't know how to describe it, like where the professor would be in the front of the room and you've got like, you know, the rows of
lecture hall.
Yes. Yeah. And I'm sitting there. I wanted to attend this one class or whatever. And within seconds of sitting down, I was out. And I start to go into it's if I left my body and went to a different life. And I saw myself as this little girl way back in this time where they didn't have cars. It was like horse carriage buggies, and I must have been this little girl with like these little black buckle shoes, and I could see the cobblestone.
Those are called knee buckles. Frank found one.
Oh, that's right.
Remember?
Yes.
Not normal roads. And I go to step out into the road. Who the hell knows where my parents are? And I get ran over by a horse and carriage. This is all I see. Next thing you know, this woman's snapping her fingers and I'm waking up. And I'm like, what the fuck just happened? This is when I'm in my teens. This is way before all of this.
There was other people there too?
Yeah, this is like a huge audience of people.
And everyone felt the same thing?
I have no idea what other people did. I have no clue. I don't know if I was just more receptive because of the type of person that I am, but it was really cool. That's all I could remember from that. And then I recently did the Akashic Records, which is different. You are conscious. I did it with a practitioner who I'm friends with up in Canada. We were on Zoom. I turned it on and laid on the bed while she guided me kind of into the Akashic Records.
Was that recently?
That was maybe last year.
Did she say anything about the tariffs?
Tariffs?
Yeah.
Stop. So she doesn't tell me anything. I'm the one who sees it all. But you're kind of like conscious. And I got to see like 3 different lives that I have lived, which explain various fears that I have now in this life. And it was really interesting.
Anything with the ocean?
No, I haven't figured that one out yet.
I mean, the ocean's a terrifying place if you really think about the void of
sharks.
Well, I mean, for a good reason.
Yeah.
Although shark attacks are not a common thing on people.
On Long Island now it is.
Yeah.
There's so many of them in our water now.
That's so cool if you get like nipped by a shark.
I really don't want to get nipped. I'm good.
I survived a shark attack.
No.
You know?
I'm good. I'll go skydiving instead. Yeah.
I mean, both are terrifying in reality.
Yeah.
Do you have any events coming up?
So many.
Yeah?
Way too many.
Where can people find you?
If you type in Medium Bianca Rose, you will find me everywhere.
That's nice.
My website is literally mediumbiancarose.com. Facebook, Medium Bianca Rose. Instagram, Medium Bianca Rose. TikTok, Medium Bianca Rose. When you type in Medium Bianca Rose, it literally shows that, it says Best of Long Island, Medium Bianca Rose.
All right. So we definitely want to follow up with doing that thing and see in action.
That'd be cool.
So
I would love that.
Schedule that with Crystal before we leave.
Sure.
And then for like 5 to 7 people, you good with?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
We can do it at the funeral home too, so you could, quote unquote, kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Hopefully nobody actually dies. And it could be a 5-star event.
Oh my God.
It was,
I don't think that's gonna happen.
But
Crystal, you got any questions?
I do.
what do you got?
Just one. No, 2.
I'll ask one. I don't know how you didn't ask this, but do we attend our funerals?
Do we attend our funerals? Absolutely. Absolutely. I always explain to people how we are not hanging out in graveyards. None of us are in a graveyard. The only time we're going to the graveyard, like in spirit, is because we're being called there. Like, I just recently did, maybe 2 weeks ago, an investigation at one of the cemeteries. And the first thing I said was, like, no one's hanging out here.
They freak me out, cemeteries. Like, I literally have grown up in this business, and I do a funeral. The priest will be doing his thing, and I'm just looking around, and I'm like, there's like minimum 1, but probably 2 to 3 people in every headstone. And then I start looking around, and I'm like, I'm surrounded by dead people.
But those are just corpses.
Yeah, it's with that's left.
Literally, it's
the
just,
vessel.
But we're not hanging out there. We're getting called there
I am.
because our loved ones are coming there and calling us forward. I always explain how Stranger Things, how, the upside down, the in-between, like, we literally live amongst them. It's like hand in hand. Like, it's 2 worlds side by side. Like, we are constantly around them. They're not just in heaven. They're here. We co-create our lives with our loved ones on the other side. They want to experience the things that we're experiencing. So if you're going on a cruise next week, you best believe that they're probably coming with you.
So way to close the curtains so they don't see the weird shit that I'm doing?
I don't think they really give a shit if we're showering, or they're definitely probably not hanging out.
That's the least of my problems.
Well, that's the thing. Like, when I'm in the shower, I'll have random people coming to me, and I'm like, seriously? But I don't think they give a shit because I don't know.
They're probably women.
I don't know. No, it's not only women.
That creepy dude you red's in the back. Like,
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
But yes, they are coming whenever we call them. The second we think of them, they step forward.
really?
Yes.
Interesting.
I actually do have a second question.
Follow up.
Yeah, no. So there have been so many movies and shows over the years, like Defending Your Life is one of my favorite movies, and you have the show The Good Place. Are there any that are, in your experience, a good depiction
When it comes to these TV shows,
of, what the other side
It looks
is?
like a no.
I don't know. I don't even know what shows you just referenced.
So Defending Your Life is like it's an 80s movie, and the main characters have to go through like a whole life review.
Before, like when they die, like
When
that's
they
what it is,
die,
yeah.
yeah.
Like
Yeah,
a Scrooge
at the-
type thing.
Like in
Pearly
between,
Gates.
They have to do a review before they get
So I think they're
to
dragging
the
out that longer than what it really is. I think you're literally seeing that like so fast. Like in your moment of passing, you're literally probably like doing a review in the brain, if that makes sense. But not really. When it comes to all these movies and shows, I don't know.
Because time doesn't exist.
It doesn't. It really doesn't.
Time doesn't exist anywhere but to us.
Well, that's what I
It's a
always say.
unit of measure.
When it comes to the other side, like, because I don't take credit for any of this. I give it all to whoever is talking to me. And they know everything. They know the past, the present, the future. I don't know how they know that because time is different.
Do you think like any of it is this like unconscious thing that you're able to do, that you're picking up on things that you don't really know you're doing? Like you see there's nothing in this room I could even do it with.
Yeah, but I can't tell you, say your uncle had his
Savage.
intestines rupture or something and he bled out all over the bathroom. How would I get that through you, through your body? How
I
would
have no idea.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
when I recently did a reading for someone whose dad or whoever that was, they passed of cardiac arrest. They explained to me how they were on the second floor, how they were in the bed, how they came out of the bedroom, went into the bathroom because they weren't realizing that these pre-signs of like stomach pain and all these things, it was pre-warning signs you're about to have a heart attack.
Right.
And how they died in the doorway of the bathroom, like weird random thing. I can't explain any of this stuff.
Have you or do you think of your own demise and how you'd want to be honored or remembered?
I just tell my children who are young still that you better let me die in your house. I don't want to die in the hospital.
I don't want to die indoors. I've had this conversation.
So you want to be like put outside on the lawn?
Dude, drag my dead, dying body out. I don't want to see a stupid flat white ceiling as the last thing I see.
Like that.
I want to see blue sky.
That's beautiful.
And my family.
All right, I'm
going
to rewrite this then. I'm going to tell my kids, have me at the house, and in that moment, you better drag me outside.
Dude,
I don't want to die in the hospital, and I don't want to, preferably, I want to be.
This is the worst case scenario is you die in a facility. And that's what you see. A fucking sprinkler head, a dumb light, and flat white ceiling. And then you try to not see that. You turn your head, and it's hospital curtains. Like, that's I don't want worst.
That. Yeah, so I tell my kids all the time, you better let me die at home. I pray that I live to at least almost 100, you know?
Yeah, you and probably
I really pray that I never get dementia or else, you know, like the certain things, putting it out there.
Yeah,
putting it out there. I don't want those things.
We interviewed the people that run LIAD. It's a insidious disease. That stuff is just
and dementia.
Yeah. But there's been some couple breakthroughs recently. I was reading about it. Yeah, I can't remember it though.
Eating clean. I really think a lot of it
has type 3 diabetes. Eat clean, eat proportionate, eat real food.
Yes.
Yeah.
Eating clean.
Don't do like I do.
Well,
do as I say, not as I do.
Lifespan versus health span.
Yeah, but while I'm living, I want to live well.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's all things in moderation. You know, like you want to eat the macaroni that day, eat the macaroni. But don't eat too much of it and then clean it up the next day. Yeah, but the processed foods in this country is a big problem.
It's processed. Things that are not organic, things that are not natural.
I saw how Cheez-Its were made the other day, and I will never eat them again. And then they advertise on it. Made with real cheese.
Challenge.
I think we just talked about this, right?
They can say whatever the hell they want.
You definitely eat Cheez-Its again. I know you.
I mean, listen, I'm not going to not eat Cheez-Its, but, like, I'm not going to go buy them. If they're there, they're there. You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm only human. So, but, yeah, well, thank you for coming. This was excellent. So much. I can't wait to have you back.
Thank you.
And we'll get that going.
Perfect.